You hit the go button.
How do I hit the go button up here?
Yeah, that's when it officially starts. Now it's...
Alright. So this is the Dave and Cary show, or the Cary and Dave show, whatever.
I think we should restart.
Alright. Take two. So this is a Cary and Dave show, and what are we going to talk about? No, this is
fifth. This is our fifth show.
I thought it was our sixth. No, it's our
we
fifth.
We deleted one of them because it was so bad.
Yeah, so this could be bad too. So
this might still be our fifth.
We never know how it's going to go. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, in the last video, you were helping me get unstuck, and I asked you a question of, what gets you motivated, and then you mentioned, well, my center is based on True North principles, and we didn't really explain at all what that is. You keep telling me you have all these magical True North principles. I could probably name one. There's apparently 50 of them or plus, so I'm kind of curious to know, truly, what does that even mean? Like, can you unpack that? The
Hopefully,
True North principles?
In 10 minutes?
9 minutes and 45 seconds.
I'll try. So, I started thinking about principles probably 4 years ago. And so, the first thing that came up for me when I was thinking of principles was, what's the difference between a principle and a value?
Principle and a value. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I was. I was like, I don't know. So guess what I did?
What?
I asked Mr. Google. And oh my gosh, I was still unclear after Googling it.
Why was that important for you to know? I mean, that's not even a question I would think of asking. Do you know what a value is?
Yes. And so finally, with the help of reading different books and stuff, I was able to figure out the difference. And the difference is a big paradigm shift.
Okay.
So, principles are natural laws. That's how I would describe it. They're true, they're objective, they're outside of you, they're universal. That means everyone kind of knows them. They're self-evident. It's difficult to argue them. They're time.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, gravity. Gravity is a natural law, right?
So principles are also natural laws?
Correct. But they apply more than just physical natural laws. There's natural laws of effective interaction. There's natural laws of how to run a business effectively. There's natural laws governing a lot of things that happen to us in life.
So gravity, I can wrap my mind around. If I take this coffee and drop it, it's going to get everywhere. But I can't really picture what is a natural law outside of physics.
Well, that's a real good question.
I'm so glad you have all the answers, hopefully.
Man, you always make this difficult. So there are natural laws from a physics standpoint. It's important that we understand those. And the reason is you may not like gravity, but the minute you jump out of a building 30 stories up and you change your mind halfway down, guess what? Doesn't matter. You're going to go splat. So you can even go, well, I don't agree with gravity. So in any kind of effectiveness in interpersonal relationships, there's also natural laws. There are natural laws. So one of them is trust. So it's impossible to have trust without being trustworthy.
So it's impossible to have trust without being trustworthy.
So trust is a fruit of trustworthiness. That's a natural law. So if you're not trustworthy, will people trust you? If we have a relationship and you make a promise to me and you break it, what's going to happen to our trust? That's a natural law. Making and keeping promises is a principle.
I see.
Trust is the glue that helps relationships be together. So if you're duplicit in everything you do, you can't keep promises, you don't come through when you say you're going to, am I going to trust you?
trust, but is trust a value?
It's an outcome of a natural law, which is trustworthiness. And trustworthiness is the fruit of making and keeping commitments, telling the truth, correct?
Okay. But what's value?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a value?
No.
Trust is not a value.
No. It can be.
So,
So what's a value? I thought you... Okay. I thought we were on natural laws. Do you understand natural
well,
laws now in relationship?
Your first thing was, I didn't know the difference between a principle and a value. So now I know what a principle is. Trust. You can't...
That's an example.
Is an example of
yeah.
one. What's an example of a value?
So a value is just what do you value? Now your values may be in alignment with True North principle or it's not. So let's say I'm a crook. I value stealing. I'm a crook. Right? So
I see.
Is that in alignment with the natural law?
I see. So value is way more subjective to you.
Yes.
Not necessarily. So you could say, I don't value gravity.
Correct.
But gravity is going to have you whether you value it or not.
Correct. That's the difference between a principle. Principle is extrinsic or outside of you. It is what it is.
Huh. Okay. That makes sense.
And a value is just what I place value on. It may not be in alignment with natural laws or not. I may not value telling the truth.
Got it. Huh. Well, that's an important distinction.
Yeah, doesn't that clear everything up?
Yes, it does.
So, what determines outcomes?
Are you asking me that?
Mm-hmm.
What determines outcomes is what the result of your actions.
Yeah, so if your actions are in opposition to principles, what might happen?
Well, if I jump off the roof, I'm going to hit the ground.
Right. So principles determine outcomes.
But if I didn't know there was gravity, then I might make a choice that has a result of me getting smashed.
Yeah, that's called an unexpected event. And then you learn from that. That's how, when I first started looking at principles, I only knew 5. It was because of my unexpected events that I discovered more. Principles determine outcomes. Values determine our attitudes and behaviors. So we act in accordance with our values. So if I value stealing, I'm going to become a crook. I'm going to act and behave in alignment with my values. Principles determine outcomes. So it behooves me to align my principles and my values together, to have my values in alignment with principles, if I want the outcomes that I desire. So what's a paradigm?
It's the way you think about something.
No, it's 20 cents.
What?
Pair of dimes, 2 dimes.
Oh my gosh. I'm editing that out.
I got that from David Fulci.
What I was... Oh, that's going to...
Mess us up. Time out. We got to answer this phone. Or not.
You know, one of our third creations might be to turn off the phone.
Yeah,
while
that
we're
would be a
doing
good
this.
idea. 'Cause now I just lost our thoughts. Oh, paradigms. 20
cents.
So, paradigms is how we see the world. And so it's kind of like a map. So if I was going from here to California, how I having a map of getting there will affect if I get there or not, right? It's the way I see things. So most people focus on their outcomes. So I heard a quote, for 1,000 people whacking at the trees, at the leaves of a tree, 1 person whacks at the roots. And so when we're trying to get outcomes, it behooves us to go all the way back to the principles. What are the principles that govern this outcome? And then back up and go, how do my maps, how do I see things? How does that line up with that? Then you can line up your values. Then you'll have the outcomes that you want. And so if you want different outcomes, it's better to go back to the principles in your maps around those principles and get them in alignment. and then the outcomes will happen naturally. The wind behind you.
Wow. Who's doing that? Seems like that's the third time I've said that.
Nobody.
Who's doing a CBP? Who's looking at principles? That was good.
Yeah, I am. Like I said, I just started 5 years ago, and now I have over 50. All right.
All right. Hope you enjoyed learning True North principles.
That's the Dave and Cary Show. See you later.
See ya.